Sup, nerds? We're back at it. Another tier list ranking video. Um, Game of Thrones. I think in the last decade, I don't think there's been a show quite as I guess polarizing. Uh, with the most polarizing fan base. It was literally one of the most popular shows in the world based off the books George R. Martin wrote, A Song of Ice and Fire. I've done a few videos over them the last couple of years. 2 years ago, I started watching season one, and this world took over my life. I spit on my screen a little. My bad. It literally did. I fell in love with it. I do love most of it. What the fricky? There, you get the heck out of there. Sorry about that. About the ads. Nothing I can do. All right. Anyways, loved it. However, I think it's agreed that the later seasons just kind of get worse and worse a bit, right? Um, until we get to the last season. And then I also have House of the Dragon on here, and so we're just going to rank them. I really love this show. I have a lot of opinions on it, and I thought I'd do it. Season 2 of House of the Dragon isn't up here, and I'm too lazy to put it up here. But I will talk about it. Don't worry. All right. So, House of the Dragon Season 1. Oh, well, I guess to talk about my tier list. My tier lists are based off quotes throughout the show that I really like to the ones that I really hate. So, number 1, which would be S, is Chaos is a Ladder. Number 2, what the heck? Okay, cool. Go away. Number 2, in what world does the wolf get to judge the lion? That's an A. You know nothing, Jon Snow. B, just random stupid dick jokes that Tyrion and Varys were subjected to in the later seasons. And then the last one, "You're my queen," which was the only line Jon Snow got to say in the last season. So, I'm sorry, I don't want it. "You're my queen." Yeah, that's basically what he was subjected to saying. We'll get started here. House of Dragon season 1, very solid. The Dance of the Dragon novella that George wrote, it wasn't a full book, right? It was a novella, so it was only a summary of what actually happened. So there's a lot of details that were in there. There were time jumps, time skips. What the heck is happening? Get the heck out of there! All right, my bad. I'm back. Um, so for what season 1 was, I know a lot of people complain about the time jumps. I know a lot of people complain about the little details that aren't in there. But you gotta understand, it's using the source material the best that it's source material the best it can without and the additions they do put in there, they don't want to change up the story drastically, right? I will put this. Hmm, you know nothing. You know nothing. Um, Very solid. I'm not mad at it. It's simple as that. Dude, Daemon Targaryen is one of George's favorite characters. Same here, brother. Uh, he's almost like a young Robert Baratheon, where he's just rash and patient and angry, very skillful and ruthless warrior, tactical military commander guy, and he has one of the coolest dragons, Syraxis. So he is a standout to me. Of course, you got Rhaenyra, and you got Alicent, and you got Otto Hightower, and you got later on you got the children that get born. The Kristen Cole, sorry, not Christian. And it does a very good job setting up for the next season, right? For season 2. At the end, Vhagar. Actually, hold on. I love Westeros, what it looks like. Seeing dragons just fly around and it being a normal occurrence is, dude, it makes me love it even more. I love the dragons just flying around. And yeah, maybe their sizes are not so consistent. I think they said Vhagar was like 300 meters long or something, and some shots definitely don't look like she's that big. But anyway, seeing Vhagar, Syraxis, oh shoot, all the dragons' names are leaving me. I can't remember. Anyways, Vermithor's another one that comes in. He gets teased at the end of that. Vermithor does. And then when Rhaenyra's kid, Lucerius, dies at the end there, and that turnaround look, you can feel the anger and the rage and grief on Rhaenyra's face, and that just got you so hyped for season 2. Everything, yeah, it was solid. The king, the dude, I can't remember any of these. Viserys, sorry. uh, I, he was cool. He was like he was a king that didn't want war. He was a king that tried to just avoid conflict, but it came back to bite him because you can't just keep looking at clear as day conflict and just keep looking this way. And it was awesome. That beautiful scene towards the end, right before he died, uh, when they're all finally just having dinner. I felt that was kind of oddly placed because like they're all like at each other's throats, and now they're just having a nice, lively dinner. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But nonetheless, and they're just getting ready for war. And it's right in the middle. I'd say it's right in the middle. And season 2 probably goes right behind it. Season 2 suffered in that the green side that has Alicent and Aegon and um, Kristen Cole and Otto Hightower and yeah, all of them, they just have more developed, better characters. Those small council meetings are just so much more enthralling than the small council meetings over on the black side with Rhaenyra. And most of that's because Daemon, the real, true, interesting character on the black side, leaves in the first episode and has like his ghost story throughout the entire season. Uh, at Harrenhal, which a lot of people didn't like. I actually did. I thought it was cool. He was in Harrenhal, and it's like all haunted and or cursed or whatever. Um, the dragon action scenes were awesome. I really loved them. Just like the CGI in them, the dragons just clashing and fighting, really cool. Rhaenyra's aunt, yeah, her death was epic, despite it not making any sense. Just the whole tactic of Vhagar waiting in place and then not seeing Vhagar, and the fact that she could have just flown away because you just killed Sunfire, Aegon's dragon, but no, she comes back and then Vhagar attacks. Like something that just doesn't make sense. Although it looked awesome. Um, uh, yeah, I would put it right there behind House of the Dragon season 1. Now, season 1 of Game of Thrones, first episode, it hooked me immediately. That ending where Jaime pushes Bran out the window. Oh, dude, because he definitely saw him fucking his sister, or twin sister. That's twin cest, my guy. Um, I don't even know if he would have even understand that. Like, oh, he's 10. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. House season 1's awesome. I'm gonna put it right there. Excellent. And George R. R. Martin in the books from his books did something that authors typically are scared to do, and that's killing off your main character. And it was brutal, and it was just because I remember watching it the first time, being like, "Someone's gonna save him." I remember I just kept thinking that someone's going to save him, but no one saves him, and he dies. uh, Everything about season 1. Tyrion, we meet Bronn of the Blackwater, and we get to see his relationship first start with Tyrion, which is one of my favorite duos in the entire show. Robb grows up. Jaime Jaime just being like, I remember watching this thinking that Jaime was going to be the ultimate bad guy. I always thought the goal was to get him on the Iron Throne somehow. I don't know how. Apparently that was George R. Martin's original plan too, but obviously went in a different direction. I mean, look at him. Young Jaime Lannister just looks like Prince Charming. Excellent. Robert Baratheon was awesome. Renly Baratheon was all right. Catelyn Stark, Robb Stark, the entire Stark family, the Direwolves, Tyrion, everything. It was just perfectly done, and it had me from the start. I'm not a political person, but this political drama and start of scheming and Joffrey, that little shit. It just everything just fucking landed, and chef's kiss, chef's kiss. Uh, Season 2 fucking hits the goddamn nail. Fucking get up there, love it. Something that you might not know or realize: the odd numbers in the season, so like 1, 3, 5, and 7, starts story arcs and plot lines and stuff, while seasons 2, 4, 6, and 8 finish them. So typically, the even numbers are going to be like typically better than the odd number that came before it. Season 2 takes that and runs with it. It is beautiful, tragic. um, First, the spectacle at the end, the Battle of the Blackwater Bay, where Stannis finally comes in and is attacking King's Landing, trying to sack it, and you just have Tyrion and just the people there, right? That's all it's there. There's no big army there. You have the Hound, the Kingsguard, and the people, the cop force, the white gold cloaks. That's what it is. That's literally all they have. And so, in the wildfire spectacle explosion, it finally had like a big enough budget where they could do something like that, and it was beautiful. And you just feel like Stannis is gonna win. The menace, the rightful heir to the Iron Throne, the rightful king. And he doesn't, because the greatest villain in the show arrives with the Lannister army as well as the Tyrell army and stops them. Oh man, dude, season 2 is so good. Jon Snow up at the wall. He gets. I think this is a season where he gets Longclaw. I do believe, which he is synonymous for and with. And I think we really get to see a lot of growing up in this season for Jon Snow. After Ned died, he kind of became like the. I mean, he's not like the main character, but he kind of became like the focal point where it's like, all right, this kid's clearly important. Well, others like Robb Stark and Tyrion, Jaime, you're like, yeah, these guys are important, but he seems to be more important. Not to mention Daenerys. I forgot to mention Daenerys in season 1. At the end, she brings back dragons. She she gets in an unwanted marriage, and then she falls in love with the guy. She gets pregnant, and then he dies, and they lose the baby with the magic or whatever. And then she has dragons. She gets those 3 dragon eggs, and they finally hatch. Viserys' death in season 1, fucking awesome. He gets his gold crown. All right. And Daenerys' story arc just gets further. It's pretty clear that Jon Snow and Daenerys are like the two at the top, right? Uh, Arya continues her journey. Sansa is stuck in King's Landing, and all this, it is just and this is really the season that tells me, hey, Tyrion Lannister is a good person, and I love him. Tyrion, the first 4 seasons, one of my favorite characters. I can't tell you if he is my favorite, but he's one of them. Quick, witty, highly intelligent. He knows people. All right. And in season 2, where he gets to be handed the king, Tywin should have, should have gave him more props for that. He had to hold off Stannis, and he didn't know his dad was coming. So this is the season where Jaime gets humbled and he loses his good hand, his fighting hand. So one of the greatest swordsmen to ever live is now not that far from now. Everything about it, perfection. There's one season I'd put above it, and we'll talk about that later. Um, and I do believe this is when Ygritte gets, you know, fucking introduced. That's the word. Um, and immediately you can see that there's something there between her and Jon, and it's excellent. It might have been season 3. It's kind of blending together, actually. Oh well, you'll get it. Season 3. My dog is scratching. Please stop that right now. Thank you. They're top of Wolf or bottom of Chaos. I'll put it there. So now Tywin is hand of the king. He's in King's Landing. The stuff at the wall is being furthered. I think season 3 for Daenerys is right after they left Karth. Oh damn! I should have watched these before I did this. Actually, hang on. I'm gonna put 3 below 1. But no, stop it. Yeah, and then of course you thought season 1 was bad, killing off your main character. Season 3 fucking doubles down as the Red Wedding takes place, and we see the death of Robb Stark, Catelyn Stark, and Grey Wind, their wolf, his wolf. All at the hands of Walder Frey and Roose Bolton because they took a bribe from Tywin and they're dead. Right as Arya and Sandor Clegane are getting there, which is something else. They're another dynamic duo that I love. By the way, just so much. Oh my god, dude! And it's like victory's over, and truly the Lannisters believe they have victory because Stannis isn't much of a problem at the moment, and the North is now leaving, because their king is dead. Yeah, it's rough, and you're like, and the Rains of Castamere playing in the background, dude. Oh man, I, you know, it's hard to. I always think about which one was worse, like which one was like more impactful, killing Ned or killing Robb and Catelyn. And I think I always have to go with Ned because it happened first, right? Although Robb and Catelyn's was like a bigger moment, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. But killing off Ned Stark is what started the war. So that's why I always put that there. I put it above it, but it's still just so. But the thing is, after that, deaths of that nature don't seem to happen very much. But still, beautiful, beautiful. Um, season 4, my favorite season. Get up there. Season 4, basically known for the Purple Wedding, where Joffrey, that little fucker, gets what he fucking deserves. Little bitch. Psychotic little bitch. Choke on that fucking poison, you little bitch. Tommen becomes king, and it's basically known for the trial of Tyrion Lannister, as they believe he did it based off words he has said before. And his speech at the end of his trial, when he announces her trial by combat, so awesome. He is Peter Dinklage was truly perfect, not because he's a dwarf, but just he brings so much emotion and just I don't have words for how well he played Tyrion Lannister in season 4. I mean, through the first 4 seasons, but here especially him and Tywin, they just have like this. Ooh, dude. And of course, it ends with Tywin being killed in the privy. So after Tyrion killed his whore lover that he was in love with, but she betrayed him because he wouldn't treat her. He was because he was keeping her safe. Basically, let's just do that. Let's just say that. I think this is where the Battle of the Wall happens. Mance Rayder and all his army. That is really cool seeing the giants and the giant woolly mammoths um, in the fight on the wall. And it's really cool seeing how 100 people defeated like 100,000. And then, of course, the tragic end of Ygritte happens there as well. It is so sad. I hate it. I'm glad that Kit Harington and the actress that plays Ygritte like found each other through this show and got married and are living happily, hopefully, because their chemistry felt so organic and it felt right. It felt like this was an end game, and I I like this a lot better than Daenerys at the end. I'm just super saying. I don't care if they're related. I don't care about fucking Targaryens liking other Targaryens. Don't care about it. This is what I like, and it was so heartbreaking when she died. It was truly heartbreaking. Um, uh, Arya and the Hound split off. I think this is when at the end is when Arya goes off to Essos, I believe, or that might have been the next season. I don't know. There's an epic fight between the Hound and Brienne that wasn't in the books. Pretty epic. Uh, and I'm glad we got to see that too because it was really fun. Um, oh, fucking hell. Oberyn Martell, one of the greatest characters to not make it through a season. I love Oberyn Martell. He's got like this charismatic, menacing feel to him, where he's usually smiling, drinking, pouring his way around. Um, the way he talks, his demeanor, he is just a charismatic guy, and he knows exactly how dangerous he is. His fight with the Mountain was awesome. Um, and if he just focused on the task at hand, being Tyrion's champion, Gregor Clegane would have died, and he would still be around for a while. That's one of my funnest what ifs to think about. This show, that's something else. This show has so many like what ifs where you just change one little tiny thing, and it just and the entire story goes in a different direction. Um, yeah. Excellent. He was just an excellent character. It's a shame we didn't get to see more of him. But because I mean, he won that fight. He beat him. He stabbed him in the chest with a spear. He won, and then he didn't. Damn. uh, just excellent, excellent. I understand. I wish I'd watched this when it was coming out because I remember people talking about it when I was in high school. I wish I just got to experience it when it was like airing. Uh, dude, crazy stuff, bro. And now we're dipping a little. All right, season 5. I'm gonna put it there. Season 5 is just a complete like fall from grace in my opinion. It has moments, but it is just really boring. Like it just is. It's setting up a lot for the next season. So like the whole thing with Ramsay and Theon, Sansa is now Sansa is gets back to Winterfell with the Boltons and Ramsay, Bruce. Um, Ramsay is a great villain. I think you get to see more of him. We'll talk more about him when we get to season 6. I think he's might be the last great villain in the show, if I had to guess. Right, outside of like the White Walker, the Night King. I mean, which I haven't even talked about that, but we'll get to that. Okay, later on. Okay, okay. Um, I will say a plus for this was the battle at Hardhome. I think that's my favorite battle. It has like this World War Z feel with the ice zombies and the White Walkers and whatnot, and the giant and just seeing that's one of my favorite battles too because there's just like this feeling of like doom and dread and just sheer chaos and panic that I love it. And then Jon Snow kills one of them. He kills one of the White Walkers, and we're like, "Oh, Valyrian steel! It's magical. Who would have thunk it?" Uh, I just thought it was that entire battle. I thought it was because it wasn't really a battle. It was more of out of an attack, and our main characters have to escape. And it's really cool. And then that ending shot where John and everyone's on the boats leaving Hardhome, and the Night King just raises his hands, and all the dead, all of their dead, just stand up. Oh, it made you excited for the long night that you knew was coming in a few seasons. It made you excited for that. And wow, we were so very disappointed, but we'll talk about that later. Um, but outside of that, Tyrion and Varys and Jorah, not so much like Jorah, but just them and Essos. This is when they started falling. Like up to this point, they were like these very charismatic and intelligent characters, written well. And here I don't know. It just this is when it started falling, and this just stupid decisions, and I think, and that's not on George R. R. Martin. That's on um, Dan and David. I I can't. I don't know their last names, but they're the directors that had like no real creative vision for the show, in my opinion. Moving after they didn't have any source material, they just liked everything and just wanted to rush through it. So we'll talk about it. um, and then, of course, season ends with the death of Jon Snow. They tried to recreate the death of Ned Stark and the death of Robert and Catelyn. I don't think so. Didn't work for me. I was pretty like, well, yeah. I mean, at first I thought it was real. It was a very well. It was very, really written and done with the Men of the Night Watch portraying him, especially Ollie. I feel like we should have seen more development with him and Ollie as like more of like a kind of like a big little brother relationship. They did a little bit, but not really. It would have made it just more impactful. But at the end of the day, still just a very dramatic, well done death scene, right? And season ends with Jon Snow's death, which is where the last book ended, and that was that. Um, those little, I remember being upset. Like I was like, dude, if Jon Snow dies, I'm not watching anymore. And I had to force my sister to tell me that that he comes back. um, and I think this is when Stannis comes in and like saves the Night's Watch from the rest of the wildlings. That was cool. Seeing Stannis and Jon Snow interact was really good. Mance Rayder being like mercy killed by Jon, pretty good. Mance Rayder is an underrated character. I like Mance Rayder a lot. Um, he was defiant to the end, truly. He was prideful and he just refused to be they made him looked as weak. Um, and I remember that scene with Stannis where he was going to legitimize Jon if Jon could get the wildlings to join Stannis's cause. Um, and Jon Snow turned him down because he didn't think he would be able to. And he was right. But outside of that, there's just like not a lot going on. Daenerys takes over Marine and stops like the slave cities or whatever, starting that arc. I think this is where Sir Barristan comes back into the fold with Daenerys. Jorah gets Jorah Mormont gets booted out of Daenerys' court and life and whatever. He kidnaps Tyrion. They come back and blah blah blah. Um, he has the. I did like them when they were like sailing through like the Valyrian Peninsula or what's left of it. Seeing Drogon fly ahead, all the zombie stone guys with that disease or whatever. Um, yeah, but other than that, season 5, I felt like I don't know, man. It didn't hit on a rewatch. Of course, when I was watching it live, when I was watching it for the first time, I was like on the edge of my feet. But on a rewatch, when I rewatched it, like not too long ago, I think it was last year. Um, yeah, nothing really stood out. Season 6, it's gonna go right there behind season 2 of House of the Dragon. This one is known for the Battle of the Bastards, right? Jon, he gets resurrected, guns down. Sansa escapes Ramsay because of Theon. Um, Brienne finds him, solidifying her oath. Uh, blah 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 blah. In the Battle of the Bastards, it is visually, it's a cinematic masterpiece. D&D, HBO, Game of Thrones, the show, whatever you want to call it, they have clearly increased their budget, and because they've gained a lot of money, and they showed it in that battle. It is visually so breathtaking and just surreal, and it gets you down in the gritty dirtiness of it, and it is almost heart stopping at how real and dramatic at the same time that it looks and feels. Really well shot. Was it well written? No. There's a lot of problems here in terms of like planning. Like if Sansa knew she could just get the veil there, why would she not tell Jon beforehand? You know what I'm saying? She has like this. That's like a what? That's just like uh, a weapon that she had in her back pocket and was just like, I'm just not gonna tell Jon about this. The fuck? That makes no sense on a like a military like tactically thinking concept or whatever mindset. It's made no sense in that regard. Uh, and like I said earlier, Ramsay, great villain, sadistic fuck. I don't think he's as sadistic as Joffrey, but he's physically more sadistic, like on a like physical, threateningly level, if that's a word. Um, I think it was well done. He killed his dad. Fuck Bruce. So his dogs, his constant, you know, can't say that 4 letter word that starts with an R of Sansa. He's just sadistic, bro. Uh, really bad. I won't say that, but I'll say fuck over and over. I guess that makes sense. Um, that's the big thing that comes from season 6. The visually just beautiful battle that makes no sense any other way. Why would Jon stand in front of a horde of enemy soldiers on horseback coming? I don't know, man. I don't know. And then Redcon being reintroduced to the show just to be killed off. I mean, they just had nothing. They didn't know what to do with him. They knew Redcon was like a big piece, but they didn't know what to do with him because he was just like a child. So they just killed him off, so they didn't have to deal with it. Yeah. Uh, That's really outside of that. Everything else happening in season 6, you got Daenerys still a Marine doing Marine things. I think this is when, yeah, season 6 is when Sir Barristan died. Shouldn't have happened. I don't care if he's 60 something years old. Those people were untrained, and I don't care if they were ganging up on him. Shouldn't have been killed off. He should have gotten that moment in season 8 when a certain battle happens. Uh, it would have been better. He died in combat like a knight should, but he should have died in a war, all right? Not just a little terroristic thing. Probably can't even say that word on YouTube. Whatever. God damn it. Can't really think of anything else that happens. Season 6. What am I talking about? The Sept of Baelor, right? A lot of characters get killed off during that explosion. The whole story arc with the Faith Militant wasn't a big fan of. I don't think most people were. Uh, I think Marjorie Tyrell blossoms in the season, not just because she becomes queen for the second time, actually. Tommen, he's just the goodest boy, doing his best. He doesn't have a hard bone in his body, well, except for the one in between his legs when he's in bed next to his wife, apparently. But I mean, to be fair, most husbands should feel like that when they're next to their partner. Um, outside of that, he's just a kind boy. He didn't deserve what happened to him. And in his death, the way he just walks out of the window, no background music, I thought that was well done. Truly. And the set of Baelor exploding was awesome. Looked awesome. Wildfire, can't go wrong with it. Um, yeah, I thought that was a good, satisfying end to the whole Faith Militant arc. Imagine if Tywin was here. Tywin was here for that, though. It wouldn't have happened. It was all Cersei's fault. You dumb whore. Uh, but yes. Wait a minute. I'm having a memory. Tywin died in season 5. No, he didn't. No, it was season 4. Yeah, it was season 4. Never mind. I did not have a memory. My bad. Season 7. This is when the cracks really started to show because D&D, Dan and David, really started running out of source material here, and we're just going off their own brains, and that's not good. George R. Martin wanted the show to go on for until at least 13 seasons because of everything he had planned, and the book that he's writing. Maybe one day we'll get to see that. Probably not though. Um, Season 7, I will put it because visually season 7 is better than season 5. But it's not as well written. Fuck it. I'll put it there for now. Daenerys is finally in Westeros. She's finally come home with an army and 3 dragons. And she lands at Dragonstone. And woo da day. Jon is king in the north. Sansa is, I guess, queen in the north. I know she becomes that eventually. uh, the fight with the Dothraki and Drogon against the Lannister and Tully army, pretty good. I think how Olenna, one of the greatest characters to exist in the show, one of very very few. Actually, no, the only other character that can go toe to toe with Tywin in a conversation, dude. Her death was awesome, revealing that she was the one that killed Joffrey. That was the highlight of the season. That was well done. Um, this is when like teleporting started to happen. It was more of a problem in season 8, but season 7, people are like groups of people are just teleporting around the continent, just everywhere. uh, don't like that. Don't like that at all. Because like in the earlier seasons, characters would take the entire season to get to the other side of the continent, and in here they're doing it in 3 minutes. And that's just to show you that D&D was just rushing through everything because they just wanted to get to the end. Um, Arya's back. No, at the end of the season, Arya comes back and she fucking slaughters House Frey. That was so cool. That was a good one, and it set up like this thing of like because she was like this wild card because like the threat from the north is coming. You have Jon in the north trying to saddle the troops because shit's happening, and then you had everything down south. I did like Jon's first encounter with Daenerys. I think that was well done. Like their first interaction. I think that was my favorite interaction between them, actually. Um, and then they set up like this whole thing where they found like all these symbols with the dragon glass, and then they did nothing with it. And you know why we haven't talked about Bran? You want to know why? This shit's boring. His arc is boring. If they'd done more with it, it could have been cool as shit. But no, it's boring. He can literally time travel. Well, he can't time travel, but he can change the events of the past, and then they did nothing with it. That's stupid. Hodor's death was well done. That was season 7. Uh, Hodor's death was tragic, truly through and through tragic. Um, Bran did that. One of the main protagonists, he did that. So I think he kind of deserved to become a vegetable. I'm just saying. Just saying. He's literally just that, a vegetable. He doesn't do anything cool. Like he's like the most powerful dude in the world, and he just doesn't do anything to be helpful, really. It'd have been cool if in season 7 we got to see him in the old three-eyed raven do some, I don't know, training with him warging into some of the best fighters in the world throughout history, and like training and learning to become like a swordsman so he could actually be useful for the big fucking fight that's coming. Anyways, and I think I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Okay. Anyways, yeah, season 7. Arya, everything, it's just not great. And then season 8. I don't know. I mean, I can do an entire video of why season 8 sucks. It sucks so bad. And my webcam's frozen. My webcam might be disappearing. Are you gone? Hello? Anyways, from bad writing to rushed ending to character assassinations. Oh, I'm back. What's up? Character assassination specifically of Jaime and Daenerys. Both of them. The Mad Queen arc happened way too quickly, and Jaime killed everything that made his character interesting. Everything. You had two clear paths you could have went to finish his arc. Have him kill Cersei, or just have him leave Cersei behind. Either one of them would have worked, and it would have been acceptable. But what'd you do? No. He's apparently obsessed with his twin sister. And then they get killed by Brooks. Fuck off. Okay. Cersei does nothing in season 8. Okay, back to season 7 for a second. I'm sorry. The thing with the White Walkers, while getting a White Walker, that whole thing with them going north and getting it and then flying up there to save them, that was stupid. Right? But when they're there and we finally get to see Cersei and Daenerys interact, the Clegane brothers finally get to interact, Tyrion and Jaime and Cersei finally get to interact. It's all cool. I will say that. That scene was well done. It makes no sense that Cersei wouldn't help them and would betray them. Oh yeah, Euron Greyjoy, that happened as well. I don't care about him. So he's a terrible villain. It did not happen. That he did not come off the way that they wanted him to, and he's supposed to be menacing and scary because of the world travel he's done and the artifacts he has found and claimed and has, and the things that he has seen. And well, that just didn't happen here. Oh, hello. My apologies about that, guys. My sister came in. I didn't expect her to come home yet. But anyways, um, where was I? The character assassinations, everything about season 8. Uh, not everything. There are a couple. There's a couple little ooh and like you're like that's nice. Theon's entire. I haven't talked about it a lot, but Theon's entire arc, despite it not getting the ending it should have had, it ended fine. Ended with a nice sacrifice on his part, right? It should have ended with him killing Euron and then becoming the king of the Iron Islands or whatever, or at least his sister becoming the queen of the Iron Islands. Either one would have been fine, but it should have ended with him killing Euron. But it was a fine enough ending. And then Brienne and Jamie finally fucking, uh, which again makes no sense as to why Jamie left Winterfell and went back to Cersei later, but I digress. I digress. Well, hello there. Um, you coming? She's hiding. Hold up. Hi, Ollie. Yeah, that's Ollie. Come here. She may stay. She may not. Who knows? There, you can see the cat. This is Ollie. Um, and then of course her being knighted. That was pretty good. And then the fight with Sandor and Gregor was pretty good. I thought that was a pretty good end. I don't think Sandor had to have died to, to really sell that, but I'm fine with what it was because they turned Gregor into Jason Voorhees. So I guess that makes sense. There's just a couple of little things here. We saw Qyburn interact with one of like the White's hands. That would have been cool to see what he would have done because he has a messed up mind and he's literally like Westeros's version of a mad scientist, and that would have been really cool. Um, Jon Snow was riddled to just saying nothing other than I don't want it. You're my queen. Bran was just a stupid vegetable the entire time, did nothing. Something else about Jon is that his whole thing with Daenerys makes no sense. Really, I felt like their relationship was kind of just thrown onto us and, not really needed. Him being revealed to be a Targaryen, Aegon the Sixth, I guess, right? His older brother was Aegon, but now he is to Aegon, and Daenerys is his aunt. That's weird, but that's very Targaryen of them. Um, what else? What else? What else was just truly the biggest thing for me was Jamie and his character arc. Jamie was by far one of my favorite characters. That while his story arc kind of fumbled in seasons 5 and 6 and 7, it never lost track until here. And it was a complete assassination of his character. And I've never been more angry in my life to hear him say those freaking words that he never cared. It makes no sense for him to not care because he broke his oath and killed his king because he cared about those people so much. Makes no sense. Terrible writing. It's just to get him out of Winterfell and back to Cersei, which shouldn't have been the objective. Idiotic. Stupid. And then the Long Night. What the fuck, dude? You tease this so hard at Hard Home, and I get it. It's the long night. It's supposed to be dark, but you can't see anything. Like, it's so dark. It makes no, like, just viewing it. It's just, yeah, you can do these quick shots in the darkness, right? Like, to create, like, a chaotic feeling. But your audience still needs to see what is happening. It makes no sense. And everything they did, like, to like help combat against the ice zombies makes no sense. Why in the world would you put the Dothraki up front and then just have them run out and just now don't get me wrong, them running out and then slowly seeing all the fire disappear in the darkness. That was a cool shot, horrible in execution. Something else should have happened to get to that shot. Um, Sorry, I was scratching my balls. It felt good. Um, I don't care anymore. um, and everything about this, it just and the entire season 8 should have just been the long night. Like everything wrapped should with Cersei should have wrapped up in season 7, in my opinion, and season 8 should have just been the long night. This is the story that started us off all the way back in episode 1. They hinted at it, they started it there, and this should have been the last thing the show should have done. It should have finished with Jon killing the Night King, not Arya. That was a thing that she did not deserve. She should have continued on with her list and of killing everyone on her list that was still alive, including Cersei. She learned to be an assassin with all of her masks, and it just doesn't show up in season 8. Stupid, stupid. I I've already said the few good things there is about season 8. There's nothing else to say. It's just awful. And it's all kind of on D&D. And Dan and David, they just rushed through it. They wanted it over with. They wanted the big money, and that's it. So creatively, they just did the bare minimum and just rushed through it. 6 episodes, all of them are rushed. Varys gets killed. His actor was notoriously upset with at least how his character ended. Uh, Ends with Jon killing Dany, which I do think was the right way to end the show. If the Mad Queen arc made sense and wasn't rushed. I don't know, man. Alright. I'm going to stop dogging on it. This is my ranking of it. Don't forget, season 2 of House of the Dragon is in between 1 and season 6. I hope y'all did enjoy. Oh, man. Like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Leave a comment of what you thought. And hit the notification bell to be notified of all my future videos and all the great stuff. I truly appreciate it. All my social medias will be down in the description and all the great stuff. Thank you guys so much. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Actually, I plan on doing more of these. I think I'm going to rank the Supernatural, all 15 seasons of it, as well as The Walking Dead, all of its seasons that I've watched. And there's a couple other tier list things that I'm thinking about as well. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.